Minister Bheki Cele, along with Ministers for Home Affairs, Justice and Human Settlements, will address Diepsloot residents' concerns. This has emerged after community leaders made their way to the union buildings in Pretoria earlier today to express their concerns. Over the last few days, we've seen parts of the area go up in flames as angry community members went on their own hunting spree, setting alight homes and places in which criminals are believed to be operating from. eNCA reporter Manqoba Mchunu on the ground following these developments. Let's cross over to him now to get the latest. Manqoba, good evening. So what came out from that meeting, that very important meeting for the people of Diepsloot that took place at the union buildings today?
Well, but then essentially what came out of that meeting are more commitments as far as dealing with the issue of crime in Diepsloot are concerned. Of course, you recall that this was a last-ditch effort by community members who had said that they want President Cyril Ramaphosa to come and address them on some of their concerns, the crime issues in their community. This is following a number of murders that had taken place in that community. So they had decided today to suspend that protest and to make their way to the union buildings, where they wanted an audience with the office of the president. Of course, it was not easy for them to get through there because initially it was thought that it would be a protest that will be held at the union buildings. But after negotiating with the officials from the union buildings, they were able to then go into the union buildings and met with the DDG from the office of the president. Some of the commitments that came out of that is that they've been promised, Pretend, that on Monday they will be given timelines and exact dates when they will be meeting with the ministers. Part of their demand from the letter that they'd taken to the president's office was that they'll want the president to come with several ministers when he does come to the area. Those include the Minister of Police, the Minister of Home Affairs, the Minister of Justice and Human Settlements to deal with some of the issues, not only the crime, but also issues around immigration and foreign nationals, illegal foreign nationals that are in those communities. So they say that they've been given a promise that on Monday they'll be given a date as to when they'll be meeting with the ministers. But beyond that, a date will then be given at a later stage whether the president will be able to come and when exactly he will be able to come, if that is the case in this community. But also importantly, saying that they've also made recommendations that more police be deployed in the area in the meantime due to the levels of crime that have been plaguing this community. So they're quite hopeful, Pretend, that this time around they are going to get concrete resolutions. Of course, they are saying that what has been provided before, interventions that have been provided before by the police minister, were short-term resolutions. And so they're quite hopeful that this time they will get concrete resolutions coming from this delegation, including the president, who they say they want to come and address their issues. But let's take a listen to one of the community leaders expanding on exactly what was promised.
We did meet with the deputy director in the office of the presidents. Decisions were taken that include that indeed we do have hope that we will have the president in Diepsloot. But we have agreed together that before that can happen, we will have a session with 4 ministers that are affected. That include the Minister of Police, the Minister of Home Affairs, the Minister of Justice and the Minister of Informal Settlement. And they will first go and engage with the community of Diepsloot with all the issues that we're complaining about in preparation for the visit of the president.
Have there been timelines that have been given as far as these commitments are concerned?
We did raise that in the meeting, that when we go to our community, we want to report time frames. On this date, this is what would happen. They have confirmed to us that on Monday they will give us proper time frames. When this will happen and when will these ministers come to Diepsloot and so on and so on.
Now, Manqoba, I understand that some of the leaders from Diepsloot mentioned a meeting that has taken place involving the police minister, Bheki Cele. Can you tell us more about this meeting?
Well, this is one of the questions that came from one of our colleagues who had been asking the community leaders why they were not invited in a meeting with the police minister. They are saying that there are reports that the police minister had been here at the police station, at the Diepsloot police station last night to hear some of the issues that had been happening in this community. In fact, we did also hear, some reports that the commissioner was here last night. But of course, all of those have not been confirmed. But the community leaders saying that they themselves had also heard that the police minister was here in Diepsloot at the police station, but they were quite upset at the fact that they were not invited in that meeting. They were not told about that meeting, and it doesn't seem like they, in fact, were wanted in that meeting. So they're quite upset. They say that they feel disrespected by the police minister if at all he were to come in this community and not address the issues and not come to the community and the community leaders to hear exactly what their issues is. Because remember, they've been insisting that they do not want the police minister to come here to this community because they say that his solutions have failed to resolve crime in this area. So they're saying that if that is the case, they're quite upset. They believe that they've been disrespected by the minister. But take a listen, Pretoria, to what they have to say.
Bheki Cele and, the friends, let me put it that way, never invited us in that meeting. And that cannot be read as, disunity of the community. As the community, we are united, but individuals were there. And I'm saying to you now, majority of people who were there, we know their names. They are not even residing in Diepsloot.
Do you feel disrespected by this, by the minister?
Highly so. We have raised that, and we just want to send a message again, to whoever that is, will be looking at this, to say Bheki Cele never invited us, as people who are on the crowd with the community. And we feel like we are highly disrespected by that.
Okay, Manqoba, just to wrap up, what's the situation currently where you are in Diepsloot? What are things looking like this hour?
Well, but then I can tell you that it's business as usual. In fact, to understand that community members have decided to suspend their protest action, and this is because of that engagement that was happening at the union buildings. In fact, they had allowed that delegation of leaders to proceed to the union buildings and to come back with an answer that will decide, of course, whether this protest action is going to continue. And from what we're hearing from those leaders is that they are going to give this process a chance. So they're going to, allow, those engagements and the commitments that have been made at those engagements to be met. And after that, they're saying that they will consider whether or not they will take back to the streets. But what they are saying is that they're leaving it in the hands of the president and the office of the president to decide really what happens with the protest action. Because if the president doesn't come to address their concerns, they are certain that their protest is going to continue. But they're also saying that, they're hoping that this time around they will get definitive answers and lasting solutions to the crime problem in this particular community. So they are waiting on Monday to hear what the response will be. And then from there, they'll take it from there. They are not ruling out the possibility of returning to the streets, but then if they do not get a favorable response from the president's office.
Yeah, Monday is going to be a key day indeed, Manqoba. But before then, there's Friday, because I understand the Diepsloot leaders saying they'll be giving feedback to the community on Friday about the outcomes of their meeting today at the union buildings. Thank you very much, Manqoba Mchunu, on the ground there in Diepsloot for us.